Hi everyone, this is Mr. Zirkle, and this video is about food chains and food webs. So as we've discussed in some of the previous videos, energy can be converted from one form to another, and that energy is transferred through an ecosystem through its trophic levels. Food chains and food webs are models of how that works. A food chain is a sequence of organisms, each one serving as a source of nutrients for the next level. For example, in this food chain, you can see that the grass, which is a producer, serves as a source of nutrients for the grasshopper, which is the primary consumer. The grasshopper then serves as a source of nutrients for the lizard, and the lizard serves as a source of nutrients for the hawk. One important thing I want you to take note of is that the arrows point toward the organism doing the consuming. Or in other words, the arrow points towards the higher trophic levels. Another way you might want to think about this is that the arrows point toward the direction that the energy is flowing. A food web is a complex interaction of interconnected food chains, as seen in this desert biome. So we'll take what we had before and we'll add a few more organisms. And you can see here that each of these are connected and interconnected. I'll let you take a few moments to look at this before we move on. You might want to pause the video here and try to identify the various trophic levels that exist in this biome. An important thing to know about food chains and food webs is that they are systems. That is to say that they are made up of different interacting parts. If you remove one part of the food web, the rest of the food web could be affected. In systems, there are feedback loops that occur. Feedback loops are interactions between parts of the system that cause the system to either become more stable or to amplify. For example, in this simple system here, X affects Y, and Y in turn has an effect on X. Now there are two different types of feedback loops. There's a positive feedback loop and there's a negative feedback loop. The positive feedback loop is an interaction which pushes a system toward amplification. Take a look at this plant. When it dies, it has a positive effect on the humus or the soil, and it adds nutrients to the soil. That's a positive effect. Those nutrients in turn have a positive effect on plants. It allows them to grow and become healthy. Because the soil is more fertile, more plants are able to grow, and because more plants grow and therefore more plants die, the humus becomes even more fertile, and that allows more plants to grow. And in this way, what happens is the system moves away from being balanced and toward amplification. And you can see that there in the graph. Negative feedback loops are interactions which push a system toward stabilization. In this example here, as hawks prey on rabbits, it decreases the population of rabbits. However, as the rabbit population declines, the hawks have a more difficult time finding food, so their population in turn begins to decline as well. As the hawk population declines, this allows the rabbit population to increase again. And in this way, the system cycles and becomes more stable. And you can see that here in this diagram. As the hawk population increases, the rabbit population begins to decrease. And at some point, because the rabbit population is so low, the hawk population begins to decrease as well. And as the hawk population decreases, it allows the rabbit population to begin increasing again. Therefore, it moves the system towards an equilibrium. As I said earlier, it's important to make sure that we're careful with how we affect these food webs and food chains because we don't necessarily know what one organism or how one organism might affect another down the line. For instance, Let's say we want to get rid of the rattlesnakes in an area. That might cause, if we get rid of the rattlesnakes, it might cause an explosion in the population of rabbits. And because it causes an explosion in the population of rabbits, it might decrease the amount of grass that's available. And if we decrease the amount of grass that's available, it might have an effect on the kangaroo rat. We just don't know necessarily how it's all going to play out, so we have to be very careful. So that's in short, that's an overview of food chains and food webs. Thank you for watching.